Hello guys, what's up? This is Veggie. Today I'm gonna make the Zangief matchup chart based on my opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's fine. You can leave a comment on that. This is based on my experience and how I feel about the character. So I'm just gonna get right into it and start off with Guile. Now, Guile, I think, is either an even matchup or a slight disadvantage. I do think that I feel like Zangief fights Guile really well. When I say really well, I mean compared to other characters, not really well as in him having an advantage over Guile, but I definitely don't find it to be a super hard matchup. I feel it's kind of even. Guile definitely has more robbery factor in the matchup with his drive rush if he needs to get a comeback going, but I find it to be kind of even. So it's a matchup I really enjoy playing. And then you have Ken, who I think Zangief has a slight advantage over, mostly because Zangief can counter all of Ken's random moves. He can jab check the drive rush or crouch light kick check the drive rush, so Ken can't abuse that. He can stand fierce the dragon lash if it's abused, and you can also get the perfect parry. And I think his button control just overall really strong against Ken, so I definitely find Zangief to have a slight advantage over Ken. The EX Tatsu used to be a problem when they were cornered, until I realized that if I have a read on the EX Tatsu, if I do a stand medium punch to anti-air the EX Tatsu, even though they're going to cross over you, you're just going to land it, and then you can do EX Air SPD, so it's like a hard read on both sides. So it's not as free as it was in the first weeks, which made me not like the matchup because they always got out of the corner, but now they can't really always get out of the corner, which is a good reward on my end. But I think just in general, Zangief has really good buttons to counter Ken. You can counter his fireball, you can trade with mediums, charge fierce when you close, drive rush charge fierce if you see him do 2 fireballs, perfect parry, and then crouch like kick the drive rush follow up. Things like that. Easy anti-airs mid-screen against him. There's just not much I feel like separates Ken in that matchup, which makes me feel like Zangief has a slight advantage. And for the same reason with Ryu. Basically the same. Ryu can't get out of the corner for free. He does have some annoying stuff with the donkey kicks, but I feel like that's also a slight advantage for Zangief. I haven't played it much though, so this is more based off what other people are playing as well. Maybe I should actually add another, because I do feel like maybe Zangief has a proper advantage over Ryu, but it's hard to say. I mean, I'm losing to Ryus every now and then, and some of the really good Ryus, I don't think it's easy. But I also don't have that much matchup experience like I have Ken, so I don't really know what to expect when. So I would put Ryu at advantage right now, or slight advantage. It's kind of hard. I'll put it advantage for now. Dhalsim I think is a hard matchup. I think personally I find Dhalsim to be very hard, but that might just be me. But I feel Dhalsim is up here or here. It's just like a lot of characters can whiff punish Dhalsim in this game and get close, and a lot of characters can just drive rush when they read that the fireball that goes up. But Zangief doesn't have that privilege that he can just drive rush in, so you're just stuck full screen trying to get a perfect parry or a jump in. And since Dhalsim escapes the corner so easily, I find it very hard to fight against Dhalsim. I also find JP to be very hard. I mean, JP in neutral actually destroys Zangief. It feels like it's a very rough matchup for Zangief. But if the JP player doesn't really know how to approach with buttons, then I find the matchup to be just hard. If they're only trying to get the zoning started, it's still hard. But when they actually have the button game as well, like Juicy Joe, it becomes very hard. Chun-Li, I will put at hard. She has the Kikoken, drive rush, it's really hard to deal with, and then she also has superior button game. She has huge reward on her heavy kick anti-air, and a problem with that heavy kick anti-air is that a lot of characters, if they jump and she's not really ready, they'll just stuff it. But Chun-Li will rarely ever get stuffed by Gief, so you can't really jump. So you're forced to almost play a zoner against a zoner that has a fireball drive rush. So you have to get around the fireball drive rush. And then she also has superior buttons and superior reward from the buttons. And her offense against Gief, I think, is really strong. Even though she doesn't have the throw loop, she does have instant air stuff. It is frustrating to play against for sure. I think Kimberly is hard as well, still hard. Too much with the drive rush this, drive rush that, can't really check it. You know, one of Gief's weakness in this game is actually not only getting in on insane zoners, but also getting insane rushdown characters off of him. And Kimberly is just excellent at rushing Zangief down, in my opinion. So I find this matchup hard. You're trying to deal with a raw drive rush, so you're not really ready to whiff punish the button. You look to whiff punish the button, you get hit by the drive rush, and she just gets started like that, and then it's kind of like next round. But I find it to be a hard matchup. I would actually rather play against Chun-Li than Kimberly if I could choose. So this definitely, I think Kimberly is one of the really annoying matchups to play as Zangief, and I find it hard. Maybe it's not, maybe other people find it amazingly easy and destroy every Kimberly, but for me, this matchup is just very, very tough to tough out. And I think Zangief has a slight disadvantage. I know a lot of players in the beginning said Zangief destroys DJ, but let's just look at what DJ has. What does DJ have? He has a fake fireball, a fireball. He has great offense, he has great drive rush, he has very good buttons, especially against Gief, because he can whiff punish Gief buttons with his standing heavy kick, which is like huge reward, and even just trying to fish with a standing heavy kick might just give you the round. So I think Gief deals well with a lot of his stuff, but he has great zoning. His only real weakness is inconsistent anti-airs, and when the DJ is on top of the anti-airs and you're forced to play the ground game, even though Gief probably has the better button game, when you include the sways, the drive rush, and the fireball, fake fireball, I think it becomes harder than playing against Guile. Definitely would prefer fighting Guile anytime. So I've actually checked out how other Giefs deal with this matchup that have like really strong DJs in their region. Like I've seen in Japan, I've seen matches with Itabashi against Fudo and stuff like that, and another DJ, and it definitely did not look favorable. That might just be that the players are better, I don't know, but personally I feel we have a slight disadvantage against DJ, almost even. It's still not easy. Honda, I find this to be an even matchup. I used to think it was advantageous, but Honda has great button game. Honda has great defense compared to Zangief in that match. And I think a little bit better Oki going with his drive rush, as he doesn't have to spend. If I land the SPD, I have to spend 4 bars to get a real Oki going. I think Honda just gets it going from 1 into the button. So I find Honda's matchup to be even. It's an enjoyable matchup. It's fun for sure. You can deal with Honda's random tools, but if the Honda then is good at using buttons and even using some drive rush, crouch, medium kick, and every now and then headbutt a bit, make you think about it, I think they can fight each other well. Manon, I will put at a slight disadvantage, mainly because of the overhead not being whiff punishable. So you space out the entire, 20 seconds you spend spacing out Manon forward heavy kick or whatever it is, and then she just the overhead and you try to sweep it and just nothing. And you can't really go close to Manon because you need to first threaten and stop the forward heavy kick, in my opinion. You can't jump on Manon, and she outranges you with that heavy kick and the overhead thing. Of course, you can't abuse the overhead, but just that it being there makes for an uncomfortable ground game, where her forward heavy kick is definitely the button that decides the match, and you need to whip punish that button with a sweep. It's really hard to tag it with stuff like stand light kick, so you have to be really ready, have to focus on that a lot. And they have about the same type of Oki when they get going, I would say. She has better Oki though from combos mid-swing, I think. But other than that, Zangief has better damage for the most part until Manon is metaled up. So I find it a slight disadvantage. It's kind of annoying to play. I think Marisa is a hard matchup, mostly only because of her damage. Because I think in neutral they are very evenly matched when they fight against each other, Marisa and Zangief. But just the reward is just so much higher on Marisa's side, which makes it hard. Had her reward been lower, it would be maybe even an advantage for Gief, but the reward is so high on Marisa that even though the buttons themselves, like button for button, spacing for spacing, space position for position, anti-air for anti-air, no, not anti-air for anti-air in that matchup, but I think that they fight really well against each other. It's just that Marisa needs so few hits to make Zangief feel the pain. Blanka, I feel it's even or slight disadvantage. I can never really decide. I think it's an even matchup, but it's very volatile. It's not a... I think that if I run into a Blanka that uses only buttons, I would put it at like advantage. But if the Blanka is good at mixing up button game with the wild game and the full screen doll game, I don't think it's that easy. But I do find it to be like even, something like that, an even matchup. I like playing it, it's really fun. Gief also has good answers to some of the Blanka stuff that other characters can't answer, like Lariat on the Blanka Bolts, EX Lariat on Blanka Bolt into level 2 actually. So no, I find this to be an even matchup. Jamie, I don't have enough. I don't have enough experience. I haven't really been sitting in lounges against Jamie. I've only played Jamie every now and then in ranked, so I can't really say what I think about this match. Sometimes I feel like it even. Sometimes I feel it's slight disadvantage. It's never in advantage and it's never hard. It feels a little bit random, to be honest, playing against Jamie. Jamie feels a bit random as a character. So for now, I'll put Jamie on even. Might be disadvantage. I doubt it's an advantageous matchup though, because Jamie can easily power up in that matchup with the drinks. And then you have Lily, who I would argue is either very hard or... No, it's very hard, because these matchups are more doable than playing against Lily. Lily is very, very hard. Her button game is better than Gief's. Her damage is not that great, but she has looping free Oki. And when she has the supers, or she gets you knocked down in the corner, it can start with mediums and stuff. Or if she converts from heavy or medium in neutral, her damage is really good. I think it's a very hard matchup to play as Zangief. I think even Marisa, it's doable to be sort of consistent against, but these characters I think is very hard to be consistent against. Aki, I'd say even for now. This is both Aki and Jamie could change. One thing though about the Lily matchup is that you can sweep almost every button she does on whiff, which is really nice. But the thing is, if you're looking to sweep it, she will power up with Windstocks, and then she's gonna get in for free many times. And even for perfect parry, it's not really don't really get a real reward, because you don't get Oki from your lariats, and you don't want to spend EX lariat and a drive rush every time you get a perfect parry on her EX counter dive. So she's definitely hard to do with Lily. But let's go back to Aki. I haven't played it much, just played a bit. This is more based on what other people are saying. This might be a terrible matchup, might be a awesome matchup, but for now I'm just gonna put it at even. But put these with a grain of salt, because I don't have enough experience against either of these characters to actually say if it's even or not. So don't tell me if I one day say Aki is an unplayable matchup or Jamie is a super easy matchup that I said they were even, because I'm telling you right now, you can't hold me to these two characters. These two characters I'm put on even because I don't have enough experience, and I feel right now that they're even. Zangief versus Zangief, definitely an even matchup. It's a good mirror match for once. Zangief in Street Fighter 4 mirror match was just not good. It was very random. Street Fighter 5, I didn't play that much Gief. I did play him a lot at the end. Street Fighter 5 Gief mirror felt really random. Street Fighter Cross Tekken mirror felt really random because Gief couldn't really punish himself. In Street Fighter 6, Zangief can control himself and he can whiff punish himself, which makes the matchup actually kind of fun. So I like that match. Definitely an even matchup. Rashid, I feel like it's an even matchup. Might be completely wrong, but from what I've played, which isn't that much, but from what I've played, Rashid is on the even, and I haven't played that much against Rashid since they've gotten time to play Rashid though. So these three, I guess, are the three characters I'm least certain on how the matchup goes. Now with Juri, I sometimes feel like I have a slight advantage, sometimes I feel like I have a slight disadvantage, and sometimes I feel like it's even, and I think it is actually an even matchup. It's just very random. It can just snowball in either direction so quickly, so it's really hard to call it a good or a bad matchup. It's just an even matchup that you can't really always be confident in, but I don't think the Juri player can be confident in it either, which is why I think Juri against Gief is kind of an even matchup. But she definitely has more opportunities to force a robbery than you have, so it's not a matchup you enjoy playing. It's very uncomfortable playing that matchup. Luke, I put Luke at even because it's a little bit harder to deal with Luke than Ken and Ryu, and the reason is that with Ken and Ryu you can actually consistently always check their drive rush, but with Luke that's not really the case. His driver shenanigans are a lot stronger than Ken and Ryu. I just think Luke is a better character than both Ken and Ryu. I mean, obviously better than Ryu, but I also think he's better than Ken. He's more consistent, has access to more damage, same corner carry. I just think he's a little bit underrated character right now. I mean, people rate him high, but I think he's better than what people say. His ability to be solid is also really like unmatched. I think he's like super solid and can go ham if he needs to. If he needs to come back, you might not be able to stop him. And I think his air, they stopped using his air flash knuckle to escape, but I still think it's a good option to have every now and then. If people are ready with DP, they're gonna whiff. If I'm ready with Lariat and you're close in doing that, the Lariat's gonna whiff and you just won the game of that. And he has the many ways when he drive rushes that even if you're ready to check it, He goes like drive rush, back heavy punch, drive rush, flash heavy flash knuckle. There's so many mini games against Luke that you don't have to deal with against Ken or Ryu. That makes it really hard to play against Luke compared to Ken and Ryu, but still I find it to be an even matchup, just comparing it to those characters, which are kind of like the same type of character. I would say Luke is even, maybe slight disadvantage, maybe. I'd put it on even for now though. So Cammy, I want to say slight disadvantage. The button game is even, but her ability to force the wild play is a lot stronger than Zangief's, and she has a very good button game against Zangief, and I think it's very hard to deal with dive kick as Zangief. So I find this to be like a slight disadvantage matchup. Little bit, definitely would always rather play against a Guile, Blanka, Honda than I would ever want to play against a Cammy. It's just, there's so much reward from both her air game and ground game, and then she has like those forced robbery situations when she needs to come back. It's just like never over. Might even be Geef favorite, but for me personally, I find it hard to fight against Cammy with Zangief. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Cammy might be even though. Let me just think about it a little bit with Cammy. There's a disadvantage there. So as you see, Zangief is like he's an okay character. The problem is that some characters are just too strong. I mean, all the characters that he struggled against, like properly struggle, which is Chun-Li, Kimberly, Marisa, JP, Lily, Dhalsim, at least 4 of them are getting complained about a lot. I do think Dhalsim and Lily is kind of under the radar on complaints, but her having just like 3 plus frames, it's just weird. She doesn't really work for those plus frames. I think her Windstock stuff should be redesigned. Like maybe only EX could become plus after that, and then just give her something else instead. Like make that only EX so plus that she can do a medium after or something, and then call it a day. The regular one's still minus, but the EX one could be more plus. I think that will be, because then she's actually taking some bar. If you drive reversal, you don't feel like, yeah, something like that. I think Lily is really frustrating to fight against for many players. Because, and I think she's frustrating to use as a little player too. Not that I play against them a lot, but it must be frustrating to always have to power up Windstock to get those kind of like free pressure going. I don't know. So I think Zangief is like really solid mid-tier character that has some matchups that are really awful to play. That's what it feels like to me right now. I put him at like B plus or A minus, depending on how you see those tiers. Let me add the Zangief row above. Add row above. Zangief matchup chart. And then we put Zangief up there. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you like the video, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. Leave a comment if you have something to say. You probably plenty of people disagree on this list, but that's fine, because tier lists and matchup lists are all personal opinions. They are never truly factual. So thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, see you then.